this is it, the final part of China's mega project series. In part 4, we go orbital, from 13,000 satellites in space to one of the world's most ambitious submarine cable networks. China is reshaping how the world connects, and on the ground, expressways carve through the Himalayas. This isn't just infrastructure, it's influence, reach, and control. Welcome to part 4, Power and Position. Guowang Constellation, China's answer to Starlink. High above Earth, a new space race is unfolding, not for the moon or Mars, but for dominance of low Earth orbit communications. In this race, China is deploying the Guowang satellite constellation, a network of nearly 13,000 satellites designed to provide global broadband internet coverage from orbit. Guowang, which translates to national network, is often described as China's answer to SpaceX's Starlink and similar mega constellations. Its goal, to ensure China has its own space-based internet infrastructure, reducing reliance on foreign networks and staking a claim in the strategic communications realm of LEO. The plan for Guowang was officially set in motion in 2021 when China established China SatNet, a state-owned enterprise dedicated to building the constellation. In 2022 to 2025, China launched a number of test and pilot satellites. As of early 2025, at least 29 Guowang satellites are already in orbit in several prototype groups. These include a mix of large and small satellites, indicating China is experimenting with different bus designs. Some launches carried 10 500-plus kilogram satellites at once on a Long March 5B rocket, while others lofted batches of smaller satellites on a Long March 8. The full constellation is slated to have 12,992 satellites in orbit by the early 2030s. To meet international filing deadlines with the ITU, China must launch half by 2032, implying an extremely rapid launch cadence in the coming years. The Guowang system will offer high-speed internet to users via antenna terminals, much like Starlink does. It's expected to provide coverage across China's territory, including remote regions, aircraft, and ships, and globally to partner countries. Having an independent network is seen as a national security imperative. Chinese analysts worry about Starlink's potential military uses by adversaries, so Guowang provides a counterbalance and redundancy. In fact, Chinese military researchers have openly discussed techniques to disable or counter foreign constellations if needed, underscoring the strategic nature of this competition. From an infrastructure perspective, Guowang will be among the most expensive and complex projects China has attempted in space. The cost is not officially public, but estimates run into the tens of billions of dollars over the next decade. Building and launching satellites at this quantity will stretch China's commercial space industry. It requires mass manufacturing of satellites, essentially on an assembly line, and very frequent launch missions. China is investing in new reusable rockets and expanding launch facilities, including a new commercial spaceport under construction to meet this demand. Notably, in one 24-hour period in April 2025, China managed to launch 10 Guowang satellites on the same day that other countries launched Starlink and OneWeb batches, a sign of the mega constellation era kicking into high gear. However, details on Guowang are relatively opaque. Unlike Starlink, which is run by a private company and gives public stats, Guowang is shrouded in more secrecy. Chinese authorities have released few specifics on the satellite's specifications or deployment plans. This lack of transparency, even relative to China's other satellite projects, has raised questions internationally. Some speculate that beyond civilian broadband, Guowang satellites could have dual-use capabilities for the PLA, such as communications, navigation enhancement, or even ISR. Beijing frames it as primarily commercial, emphasizing benefits of internet access for all and digital economy growth. Regardless, the impact of Guowang could be significant. Domestically, it aligns with China's new infrastructure push, bringing internet connectivity to underserved western provinces, airplanes, and rural communities, thereby bridging the digital divide. Globally, if China offers competitive broadband service via Guowang to countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, it could challenge Western providers and extend China's tech influence, a sort of digital Silk Road in the sky. The constellation also complements China's 5G rollout on the ground, allowing integrated terrestrial and satellite networks. In summary, Guowang is China's bid to occupy the high ground of cyberspace. Along with ground-based megaprojects, this space-based megaproject shows China's determination to be a major player in all infrastructure domains. If the information highways of the 21st century are in orbit, China intends to build and control its own lanes. The race is on. Thousands of Chinese satellites will soon join the crowded skies overhead, another piece of the massive puzzle in China's modernization drive. EMA subsea cable, a digital Silk Road under the sea. Not all connectivity projects are visible. Some lie hidden on the ocean floor. One such project is the EMA submarine cable, short for Europe, Middle East, Asia, a new transcontinental fiber optic cable being led by China. With an estimated length of approximately 15,000 kilometers, the EMA cable will run from Hong Kong to France, linking up Southeast Asia, South Asia, the Middle East, and Europe with high-speed internet bandwidth. It is designed as China's alternative to Western-dominated undersea cables, coming with a price tag of about $500 million. According to plans disclosed to Reuters, the EMA route starts in Hong Kong, lands at Hainan Island in China, then snakes through Singapore, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and finally terminates in Marseille, France. These landing points were likely chosen to maximize coverage of key regions, connecting major internet hubs of Asia to the populous Middle East and Europe, and to align with China's Belt and Road partner countries. Notably, the cable mirrors, in reverse, the historic Silk Road maritime path, creating a 21st century digital Silk Road beneath the waves. What makes EMA particularly geopolitically significant is that it is being built by Chinese telecom giants, China Telecom, China Mobile, China Unicom, using equipment from HMN Technologies, formerly Huawei Marine Networks. This comes as a direct response to US-backed cables and to incidents where Chinese firms were excluded from international cable consortia due to security concerns. For example, there was a competing project called CME 6 where Western pressure led to dropping HMN tech, prompting China to forge its own path with EMA. In essence, EMA is China's bid to secure control over critical internet infrastructure independent of US influence. From an engineering standpoint, laying a submarine cable of this length is complex but territory that Chinese companies have experience in. Huawei Marine, now HMN Tech, has laid numerous regional cables. For EMA, specialized cable-laying ships will spool fiber optic cable across deep seas, with repeaters installed every approximately 50 to 100 kilometers to amplify the optical signal. The cable will likely be at least 16 to 24 fiber pairs, offering huge capacity, possibly on the order of tens of terabits per second, to meet booming internet demand between Asia and Europe. The challenge comes at certain segments, e.g., the Red Sea and Mediterranean are crowded with cables, care needed to avoid crossings, and the South China Sea has contentious waters. But since it lands in Hainan and HK, it stays on China-friendly route initially. There's also the issue of cybersecurity. Western experts worry Chinese involvement could mean exposure to surveillance or sabotage, while China worries about US espionage on US-linked cables. So both sides are essentially building separate cable ecosystems, heralding a possible bifurcation of the global internet's hardware. The EMA cable is expected to be completed by 2025, aligning with a broader rush of new cables as data traffic surges. When live, it will enhance internet speeds and reliability for all countries along its path. For instance, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia will gain additional redundancy and lower latency routes to Europe, which can be crucial for cloud services and finance. For Europe, it provides a direct link to Hong Kong and onward to China that bypasses the US, which some European operators might welcome for diversity. The cable's landing in Marseille, a major submarine cable hub in the Mediterranean, means it can interconnect with other networks to reach the rest of Europe and even Africa. Strategically, EMA underlines the concept of a network great game. Just as 19th century powers competed for land routes, 21st century powers compete for control of information routes. If the project proceeds as planned, China will have built a physical backbone for a Sino-centric communications network stretching halfway around the globe. This complements other Chinese digital infrastructure efforts, from Beidou satellites to fiber optic links in Africa, forming a robust back end for the Belt and Road's digital dimension. In summary, the EMA submarine cable may lie in the depths of the sea, invisibility, unseen, but it embodies a critical piece of China's mega-project puzzle, ensuring that in the global flow of data, China is not just a passenger, but holding the steering wheel. Yakang Expressway, gateway to Tibet's highlands. In southwestern China, the Ya'an-Kangding Expressway, Yakang Expressway, winds its way from the Sichuan Basin up into the eastern foothills of the Tibetan Plateau. Though only about 135 kilometers long, this highway is hailed as one of China's most difficult ever built, a true engineering marvel through some of the world's roughest terrain. It forms the first stage of an ambitious Sichuan-Tibet Expressway, G4218, that one day aims to connect Chengdu to Lhasa with high-speed road travel. Completed in late 2018 after 4 years of construction, Yakang Expressway climbs from Ya'an, elevation about 600 meters, to Kangding, elevation about 2,600 meters, crossing deep river gorges and the steep Hengduan mountain range. The altitude change of 1,900 meters and geohazards like earthquakes and landslides made the project extremely challenging. To surmount these, engineers built a staggering number of bridges and tunnels. 82% of the route runs either on a bridge or in a tunnel, one of the highest bridge-tunnel ratios of any highway in the world. In total, Yakang has 25 tunnels, totaling 41 kilometers, and numerous viaducts spanning valleys. Two signature structures stand out. One is the Erlangshan Extra Long Tunnel, piercing through Manti Erlang for 13.4 kilometers, currently among the world's top 15 longest road tunnels. Bored through fault-ridden rock and lying as deep as 1.5 kilometers underground, this tunnel alone took years and novel techniques to complete. It opened in 2018 as Yakang's keystone, cutting under a formerly treacherous mountain pass. The old Erlang Tunnel was shorter and higher, but this new one goes deeper and straighter. At the west end of Erlangshan Tunnel, the highway immediately flies over the Dadu River on the Xingkang Bridge, also called Looting Bridge, a 1,411-meter long suspension bridge with a main span of 1,100 meters. This elegant span, opened in 2018, is dubbed the first bridge in Sichuan, Tibet, for its significance as the gateway to the Tibetan areas. It carries the expressway over a deep canyon near Looting, a spot not far from the historic chain bridge crossed by Red Army forces in 1935. The modern Xingkang Bridge is an engineering feat with massive towers anchored in seismic resilient foundations. This region experienced a major 6.8 magnitude earthquake in 2022. The investment for Yakang was around 23 billion yen. Now that it's operational, travel time from Chengdu to Kangding has dropped from about 8 to 10 hours on older winding roads to just 2.5 to 3 hours. This is transformational for the local economy of Garzei Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, where Kangding is the capital. Tourists can now reach Kangding's alpine scenery and Tibetan cultural areas much faster, boosting sustainable tourism. More importantly, freight and logistics costs to these highland regions have decreased, enabling better market access for local products and resources. The expressway is also a lifeline for disaster response. For instance, when earthquakes or landslides strike, relief teams can get in more quickly by road. Ironically, the expressway itself had to endure a severe mudslide in 2024 that caused a bridge collapse, highlighting the constant battle with nature in these parts. Yakang is just the first segment of the planned highway to Tibet. From Kangding, future expressway sections are under construction or planning to continue west to Shindukiao, Litang, and eventually to the Tibet border at Markham, and onward to Ningxi and Lhasa. That broader Sichuan-Tibet expressway, when completed, will be about 1,500 kilometers and could cut Chengdu-Lhasa travel from several days to maybe 20 hours driving. It parallels the route of the under-construction Sichuan-Tibet Railway, indicating how serious China is about improving access to Tibet. These projects are motivated by both economic development goals for Tibetan regions and strategic considerations, improving the supply and deployment routes to border areas. In summary, the Yakang Expressway exemplifies China's determination to conquer geographic extremes with infrastructure. Carved into mountains and strung across chasms, it merges advanced engineering, tunnels, bridges, geo-monitoring for hazards, with bold vision. For the traveler, it means a breathtaking and much safer journey through some of China's most beautiful landscapes. For the nation, it's a unifying artery, knitting remote Tibetan highlands closer to the heartland, a concrete and asphalt expression of the motto, "To get rich, first build a road." And in doing so, it lays another brick in the foundation of China's long-term carbon neutrality plan. Better roads reduce idling and detours, efficient logistics cut emissions, and these investments enable greener economic activities like ecotourism and clean energy distribution in the region. From the ocean floor to the edge of space, China's megaprojects are rewriting the rules of infrastructure, power, and progress. Some are controversial, all are colossal. Whether you see them as marvels of engineering or geopolitical game changers, one thing is clear: China isn't just building, it's shaping the future. Which project do you think will have the biggest impact? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dive documentaries on the forces shaping our world.